Okay, welcome to the Gamma Raging Chestburster channel. I am B.
I'm D.
And today, what do we have? We are obviously, well, not obviously, we're going to talk about Kerrigan from Starcraft, our statue of the day. And so, this is another piece that was done way back in 2014.
Wow, is that recent?
So, yeah, time really does fly. And so,
it feels like it was older than that.
No, it's according to, if I remember correctly, and what I do believe it was 2014 statue. If correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, you would know better than I did. You know, I mean, you probably looked it up. You're very thorough that way. I'll trust you if you say 2014. It just feels like because of the time we played the game originally, you know, it was a long time ago. But I guess that would kind of make sense when Wings of Liberty started to come out.
Yeah, I mean, think about it now. I mean, think about, geez, I mean, StarCraft is pretty much, unfortunately, it's a dead game, you know, and when it comes to RTS, you know, sadly, RTS is dead, and of course, StarCraft has been around for many, many, many years, especially in the competition world, and it's, you know, like Blizzard itself has died a slow death. You know, of course, we left the ship long ago, so to speak.
A lot of self-inflicted wounds there.
Yeah, so that'll be a discussion for another time, but let's talk about our Kerrigan statue, which is a sideshow piece that was done along with Blizzard to capture the essence of the Queen of Blades. So this is a Polystone statue, and there was 2,250 statues produced at a cost of $379.99.
That sounds like a bargain compared to today's prices.
Oh, geez. I mean, how many statues can we buy with this money?
None.
Huh?
I could buy maybe a Cote de Bakia, say something for $375. I don't think I can get anything from any major manufacturer for $375 anymore.
Yeah. So these days you're paying at least $500 and up for you know 6 scale and up. So with this statue, you know, it comes around 25 inches tall. It's, you know, the base is around 10 inches deep, in depth and 14 inches wide, so it's a very, very, very reasonable statue to display. Now, when it comes to general sculpt, this is a really good statue. I think it's underrated, and if you are privileged to have the statue, it is a beauty, don't you think?
Oh yeah, I mean, especially the paint. I mean, the application of the paint. And just by itself, because the majority of the statue obviously is her physique, you know, her body, and it's very Giger-esque, you know. I mean, obviously, you know, the guys at Blizzard, Rob Pardo, whatever, they made no bones about the fact that a lot of her derivation came out of the inspiration from, you know, from aliens. So, I mean, you can see the influences in it, but the amount of the sculpture on the body is just as intricate as any alien I've ever owned, but the paint application, the details, the flecks, the transition of color, you know, from the purples to the, you know, the light grays, and well, you know, there's more of this that we're going to show in the video, but I mean, obviously the gradient is so nice, and there's a nice sheen on her, which makes her give that kind of little slightly translucent, slimy color, you know, like on the alien, you know, skin. And then of course her wings. Her wings don't take up a lot of girth, obviously, but they account for the width, you know, of the piece, because the base is pretty under control, I would say. You know, it's more up and down, less. You know, it's less Prime 1-y, you know, less global translation event, you know, where it destroys your collection space. But yeah, I mean, just her attention to detail in both the sculpt and the painting is incredible. Some people, I guess, critique it for the fact that most of it is just her, you know, like I said, up and down. But if you look at that, and the last time you and I saw her from when this was released, she was the size of a silver dollar on the screen. So we never really got to see the detail, you know, except in the concept art, you know, because we're longtime fans. Some of these younger kids, you know, they only remember Heart of the Swarm and the newer stuff. You know, they haven't gone and played Brood War or classic StarCraft. So we know the character pretty well, but yeah, the sculpture is phenomenal. I would agree with you 100%.
Yeah, what I really appreciate with the statue definitely are one aspect are the wings. What I do like about them is just they really have that really appearance of, it being a bony structure, and it has the details. So when you look at the detail, it just has, it shows all the connections and the articulation, and it does look like attachments to each segment of a bone structure and how they connect to her body. And then when you get to her body, what I also like is just her carapace, and how, the formation of her heels to the spines on her legs and to her rib cage. Those are really important details for this character to show that, she's been infested, she's no longer human, she's now the Queen of Blades. And getting definitely huge sculpt details, and of course the hair.
Yeah, the hair is actually really remarkably well done, but you have to admit there's a degree of sensuality to it too. I mean, the Giger-esque stuff, has a bit of that dichotomy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bit of the sensuality with the horrific, and I think the way she was designed was very much in that vein. And so you can see a lot of attractive parts about their physiology in the sculpture, but it's innately alien, innately strange, and otherworldly, which is also, I think, what makes her unique. As a character goes, she's innately a villain the way that we knew her, right?
Yeah.
But
still the
obviously
queen
in the later
bitch of the
games,
universe.
Swarm, she became more of a, what would you call it, reluctant hero / redeemed hero.
Yeah, they're playing on the whole aspect, of course, of her having still a part of that Sarah inside of her, and of course the connection between her and Raynor, of course, being able to, have that battle within herself, of course, that conflict that's within her, and you see these in other franchises where you have a contrast between the good and evil of yourself.
Well, I really think that she comes off as a beautiful piece, but I'm kind of strange because I like my aliens too. My aliens definitely, I find them to be, beautiful, but this is in a different type of way beautiful because it's obviously a depiction of a woman, not just an alien life form. But the character, when you know her background, that she was left for dead, essentially, left behind, to die, and like you said, gets infested and then turns into this. The background is quite neat, and I really, really like the representation here because, like I said, we never got to see her fully formed, in the first games. We only got to see general cinematic interstitials with her on the screen, in-game, not very big. And we saw the concept art, for her.
A portrait, basically, yeah.
I actually remember the first BlizzCon. Do you remember that?
Well, that was the only BlizzCon we ever went to.
Only one, that's true, but it was the first
one.
And do you remember what, to me, the star of the show was? Remember that life-size Kerrigan? It was in the middle of the floor?
Well, there was that, and then...
I can't remember if it was a thrall or that they had, but they had another big statue.
Well, they had was the ghost Kerrigan, the Sarah Kerrigan, or was it just a ghost? Female ghost.
Well, they may have had that one, but the one I remember is they had Kerrigan, infested Kerrigan, in full size, and it was very much like this one. I don't know if they keyed off it or whatever, but I mean that was the first time I remember getting just wow. I was just enthralled by that design. The fact you could see a life-size version, and this is very much like that, just in a smaller scale. I think I'm proud to own it, proud to have gotten it. When we could. And I would say, hey, if you can find it and you get the resources, by all means pick one up. But, I don't see a lot of people that even really know about it, or even a lot of people, like you said, who play StarCraft anymore. But it's a fantastic piece, whether you play the game or not, in my view. If you like art, if you like aliens, if you like sci-fi, if you like any of that, you'd love this.
Yeah, so there's definitely, we're not only collectors or not fans of, just comics and movies, we're also gamers, and so this is an example of one of the pieces that we've attained for the collection. And so definitely StarCraft has a place in our collection. Anything related to StarCraft.
And the box art was actually, as I recall, pretty gnarly too. But like I said, I store my boxes for the most part. But the box art was pretty detailed and nice, and they marketed it well. But I'm just thrilled to death to have it. It's just I have it right next to my Rainer. Which maybe we can cover at a later time. But that Rainer's pretty neat. They're good companion pieces if you can put them together.
Yeah, so definitely this statue has a lot going for it, and definitely if you're fans, a must-have.
I would say, in terms of improvement for this thing, I don't think I wouldn't do anything to it. I would just make it bigger. If I were going to do another one of these, I love the way it was done. I just would love it to have it in a bigger scale, to be quite frank.
Yeah, bigger scale is always nice, and of course maybe doing something a little different with the pose, and of course the base, adding some more interesting kind of environment maybe to the piece. One of the things that I think some people might be concerned about, and certainly one thing that you're concerned about, is the fragility and the fact that the wings, might be susceptible to breakage, especially in the shipping process. So I don't think you had any problems with that.
No, but it was something I was concerned about out of the box. They definitely worry you out of the box, but once you have them and you realize they're not cracked or broken, and you plug them in, you get them pushed into the base. They have this really stern wire in them, you can tell, because I had to pull them to plug them into the base. And I didn't know if I was supposed to do that, because you're not technically. I don't like tugging on things with the statue, But they're meant to give a little, I think,
Yeah, if I remember correctly, they were slightly not flexible, not meant to be. Obviously, you're not meant to.
No, not like a
bend,
wishbone.
But nonetheless, they were slightly had a little.
They can bend a bit, but they're not like a wishbone. You don't want to pull too far.
Obviously, they're not completely solid.
No,
so.
But once you put her down, you plug them into her back. You're supposed to gently pull according to instructions to the side, and then plug. There's a little keyhole, for 2 pins that go into the right and left of the base, so that they hold the wings into place. But yeah, if you're displaying it, you want to be conscious of. They go out a little wider, but you still want to accidentally nick the wings. I don't know what it would do, but yeah, they're fine unless they break in shipping. I think, but shipping would be a concern. But they're beautiful when they're up, though. I have to say they did a great job with those wings, because as you can tell, the way they hang there, the three prongs. Because of the nature of you stretching them just a little to plug them in, they have that natural kind of weight, to them. They look natural instead of something that, is uneven or warped or twisted, or like when they use ABS or the other material, it gets warped in transit. When it ships and it's kind of slightly askew from straight. Whatever they did with this, they put guide wires in it, I think, and then they sculpted over the guide wires. I'm not exactly sure the manufacture process, but the wings are very sturdy if they make it through shipping.
Yeah, this piece is definitely a stunner. So I think that closes it for the statue for today. Our Kerrigan from Sideshow Blizzard. Please let us know in the comments below if you own the statue, and if not, if this is something you would own. Thank you for joining us at the Gamma Raging Chest Burster channel, and stay tuned for more next time.